In recent years, America has seen a growing number of powerful individuals brought into the spotlight for serious criminal allegations. But few cases have captured public attention like the legal battle involving the Alexander brothers. Wealthy real estate figures accused of some of the most disturbing crimes alleged against elite individuals in modern times. This is not just a story about crime. It is a story about power, privilege, and the courage it takes to challenge those who seem untouchable. And for many, this case represents a turning point in how society confronts allegations against the wealthy and influential. The Alexander brothers built their reputation in luxury real estate. They moved in elite circles, attending exclusive events, working with high-profile clients, and cultivating an image of success and sophistication. To many, they were symbols of ambition and the American dream, proof that wealth and status could be achieved through networking and determination. But behind that polished public image, prosecutors allege there was a hidden pattern of behavior that would eventually lead to criminal charges. According to court documents and media investigations, multiple women accused the brothers of sexual assault, coercion, and exploitation over a span of years. The accusations describe scenarios in which women were allegedly invited to high-end apartments, luxury hotels, or social gatherings, only to find themselves in situations they say were manipulative and non-consensual. At first, the allegations surfaced quietly. Many of the women said they were afraid to speak out. Some feared retaliation. Others feared not being believed. The power imbalance between wealthy men and private individuals created an environment where silence felt safer than truth. But over time, more women came forward. And when multiple stories began to show similar patterns, authorities started paying attention. What investigators later noticed was not just one accusation, but a pattern that raised serious questions. Law enforcement officials and prosecutors began examining the claims, looking for consistency in the testimonies. According to reports, some women claimed they were drugged. Others said they were pressured or manipulated into sexual encounters. Some alleged they felt trapped by the brothers' social influence and wealth. The defense has strongly denied these accusations, stating that all interactions were consensual and that the allegations are exaggerated or false. As with all criminal cases, the brothers are presumed innocent until proven guilty in court. But the growing number of accusers led to formal investigations, arrests, and eventually a high-profile trial. When the arrests became public, the reaction was immediate and intense. News outlets across the United States reported on the case. Social media platforms erupted with debates. Some users expressed shock that wealthy figures could be accused of such acts. Others argued that wealth has historically shielded wrongdoing. The case became more than a legal battle. It became a cultural conversation. This wasn't just about what happened behind closed doors. It was about what happens when power meets accountability. In court, prosecutors laid out their narrative, a pattern of alleged abuse fueled by privilege and influence. They argued that wealth and status created an environment where victims felt powerless and silent. They presented testimonies from accusers who described emotional trauma, fear, and years of silence. Some spoke about struggling with guilt, shame, and mental health issues after their experiences. Experts say this pattern is common in cases involving powerful individuals. Victims often fear public scrutiny, victim blaming, and legal retaliation. Many choose silence over confrontation. But when multiple victims come forward, the silence breaks. The defense, however, has challenged the credibility of the allegations. Defense attorneys have questioned inconsistencies in testimonies, pointed to timelines, and argued that the relationships were consensual. They claim the case is driven by media attention, public pressure, and misunderstanding. This courtroom battle has become a clash of narratives. Victims seeking justice versus defendants fighting for their reputation and freedom. And the deeper the trial went, the more America began to question how often powerful people are protected by silence. Legal analysts say the Alexander brothers' case reflects a broader trend in the justice system. Over the past decade, more victims have come forward against high-profile individuals, leading to major shifts in how society handles allegations of sexual assault and misconduct. The #MeToo movement played a significant role in empowering survivors to speak out. Cases involving celebrities, politicians, and business leaders have reshaped public attitudes. The Alexander brothers' case sits at the intersection of wealth, influence, and accountability, a test of whether the justice system treats powerful individuals differently. Media coverage has been extensive. Some outlets focus on the alleged crimes. Others examine the brothers' rise in real estate and how elite social circles can mask troubling behavior. Public opinion remains divided. Some believe the accusations highlight systemic abuse of power. Others caution against trial by media, emphasizing due process and presumption of innocence. But regardless of the verdict, one truth is already clear: silence is no longer guaranteed. The courtroom testimonies have been emotional. Accusers described fear, confusion, and betrayal. Some said they struggled to reconcile the public image of the brothers with their private experiences. Psychologists say this cognitive dissonance is common in abuse cases involving respected individuals. When a person is admired publicly, victims often question their own experiences. This is why many cases take years to surface. As the trial continues, legal experts are watching closely. The outcome could influence how similar cases are prosecuted in the future. It could also impact how society views allegations against wealthy individuals. Some observers say the case represents a shift in power dynamics. Wealth and influence no longer guarantee silence. Social media, investigative journalism, and survivor advocacy have changed the landscape. And this trial may become a blueprint for how future allegations against elite figures are handled. The Alexander brothers case also raises questions about consent, power imbalance, and responsibility. When one person holds significant social or financial power, can true consent exist without pressure? Legal scholars debate this question. Courts often examine factors like coercion, intoxication, and manipulation when determining consent. This case forces the public to confront uncomfortable truths about relationships, power structures, and accountability. Beyond the courtroom, the case has sparked conversations in workplaces, universities, and social organizations. Discussions about consent education, corporate accountability, and survivor support have intensified. Some organizations have used the case as an example in training programs. Others have called for stricter policies and transparency in elite social circles. For many survivors watching, this case is not just news, it is validation. As with any high-profile trial, misinformation and speculation have spread online. Some conspiracy theories and unverified claims have circulated, highlighting the importance of relying on credible sources and court-verified information. Responsible reporting remains crucial, especially when allegations involve real people and ongoing legal proceedings. The Alexander brothers have continued to deny wrongdoing. Their legal team emphasizes that accusations do not equal guilt and that the judicial process must determine the truth. The trial will decide their legal fate, but the social impact is already unfolding. Even before the verdict, the ripple effects are being felt across America. This case has also influenced discussions about privilege in the justice system. Critics argue that wealthy individuals often have access to better legal defense and influence. Supporters of due process argue that everyone deserves a fair trial regardless of status. The tension between public outrage and legal principles is a defining feature of modern high-profile trials. As jurors weigh evidence and testimonies, the public watches closely. For victims, the trial represents a chance for justice. For the accused, it represents a fight for their future. And for society, it represents a test of accountability in an age where secrets are harder to keep. The era of silence is ending, and the era of exposure has begun. Regardless of the outcome, the Alexander brothers case will be remembered as a moment when elite power structures were challenged in court and in public opinion. It will be studied by legal scholars, journalists, and sociologists as an example of how society handles allegations against influential individuals. This story is not about gossip. It is about justice. It is about power. And it is about the courage it takes to speak when the odds are stacked against you. As the trial continues, one question remains. Will wealth and influence protect the accused, or will the justice system prove that no one is above the law? This is American Crime Vault. And this is the story of the Alexander brothers trial: wealth, power, and the dark allegations.